Hey guys, Tito James here. Welcome back to the channel where we take awesome out of the box. So Motorola Philippines just announced their most affordable 5G smartphone, the G50 5G here locally. Now the question is, okay ba yung smartphone na to? I hope this video helps you guys out, and to help us determine that, of course, let's get pricing out of the way. So the Motorola Moto G50 5G is priced at 10,495 pesos, and as far as I know, isa lang yung variant para sa phone na to. So here's what we get for that potential spend. We have a Dimensity 700 5G processor from MediaTek, 4GB of RAM, 128GB of storage na expandable up to 512GB, a 6.5-inch HD Plus IPS display at 90Hz, triple camera setup on the back, 5,000 mAh battery, and a stock Android experience. So I already feel that some of you are ready to go in the comment section, but please resist. Let's talk about this phone a bit further. So for the body, yes, plastic siya. It also has a glossy finish, so it's also a fingerprint magnet. Honestly, sa price point na to, expected naman yung build quality, and to be fair, it feels really well built as far as I can tell. Now, the overall design does feel rather dated. I mean, the back is okay, it's simple, but it works. But the bezels on the screen just takes me a few years back, especially the bottom one. That chin is really hard to ignore. It also feels bulky in the hand. Di naman siya mabigat, pero since medyo laki yung curves niya and yung frame niya is slightly squared off, it just seems way bigger than it actually is, even for me who does have pretty big hands. So since this is the first time you're seeing this phone on the channel, let's do a quick tour of the button and port layout. So you have the SIM tray on the left side, hybrid siya, so it's either two SIMs or a SIM and a micro SD card for you. The bottom has the headphone jack, USB-C port, and the speaker. And the right side is where most of the action is. You have the power button / fingerprint scanner, which is pretty responsive, but I do wish na medyo mas mataas ng konti yung placement niya. You also have the volume rocker here, and since this is a Motorola device, syempre may dedicated Google Assistant button din siya. I really wish that you could remap that button to launch different apps, but remember my gesture controls nito. For example, you can chop the phone twice really quickly to turn on the flashlight like so. So yan, patayin natin para hindi siya distracting. There you go. And you can also twist the phone twice to launch the camera, but fair warning, you might get carpal tunnel syndrome if you do this too frequently, pero sobrang nakakaaliw talaga siya, especially when you're doing this for the first couple of times. Okay, so moving on to the screen, just to recap what I said earlier, we're getting a 6.5-inch HD Plus IPS display at 90Hz refresh rate, and a part of me really wishes that they could have bumped this up to 1080p, so there's a bit of compromise there. Okay naman yung picture quality. Yes, kulang ng sharpness ng konti since spoiled na ako sa Full HD Plus displays, pero enjoyable pa rin naman siya. Colors are pretty much what you would expect from an IPS display. Plus, kung mahilig kayo mag-Netflix, it's also Widevine L1 certified. The one thing that did concern me is yung overall brightness ng display. It's just not enough, so baka mahirapan kayo kung gagamitin ito habang namimili ng essentials. If indoors, okay lang siya, pero outdoors, especially kung lalabas kayo ng mga tanghaling tapat, kulang talaga siya eh. Moving on to the cameras, you have a triple camera setup on the G50 5G, 48-megapixel main camera, f1.7 aperture with a 2-megapixel macro and 2-megapixel depth sensors. Para sa selfies, I'm sure nakita nyo kanina, it has a notch, hindi siya punch hole. The camera is at 13 megapixels at f2.0, and both front and rear cameras only support videos at 1080p, 60 fps. So, no surprises here kung maganda yung lighting nyo, and actually kahit na medyo indoors, okay pa rin naman yung results. There's plenty of detail. Yung dynamic range niya is okay lang, pwede na. And even this shot of my SD Zaku sa office ni Lea turned out pretty decent, all things considered. Now, one thing I did notice is that compared to standard photo mode, iba yung exposure ng portrait mode. It's not bad per se, iba lang siya. But edge detection is pretty good and one of the cleanest sa price point na to, in my opinion. Granted, naka-ponytail si Lea dito. The biggest downside for me here is photos in low light conditions. And while you can get kind of decent usable shots, you'll see a lot of noise and muddiness in the details for a lot of the shots I was able to take. Again, we really can't go out to test this out fully since may curfew pa tayo, but I've definitely seen better in this price point. Now, when it comes to selfies, honestly, you won't see a lot of samples because one, I don't usually take selfies unless it's a special occasions or for reviews. Two is a big one. The front camera has major shutter lag. So let me show you a quick clip that I recorded on my iPhone where you'll see what I'm talking about. I I don't know kung ayaw nilang sa akin, but there are times where it wouldn't even take my photos. At first, I thought it was because of bad lighting, but as you can see, I'm in the front yard, it's 2 p.m. So actually, ang dami kong photos ng double chin ko because I would just give up and then when I put the phone down, it would just snap a photo. Motorola, if you're listening, I don't know if it's just me, but please push an update to fix this. Okay, so let's just move on to the phone's general performance, and I think we've seen what the Dimensity 700 5G processor can do in other smartphones. So for me, okay naman siya for a 5G device in and around this price point. I wish the G50 5G did have a bit more RAM, around 6GB, just to give me more confidence to multitask. Pero okay pa rin naman siya, okay din yung 4GB for day-to-day social media use, at least for me. Okay, so here's a quick look at benchmark scores of the G50 compared to other phones in and around this price point. And you will see that there's nothing really too game-breaking in the differences between these three devices. But of course, we want to give you guys some context to see how this phone does versus some of its competition. For gaming, it does a decent job too. I was able to play Wild Rift on it with maxed out settings with very little problems when it comes to graphics. Smooth naman yung gameplay kahit naksagad siya. COD maxes at medium settings and kaya naman ng phone na to, performance was smooth enough, at least for me. I mostly play in Team Deathmatch and Free-for-All for a quick game, but I recommend lowering for Battle Royale mode just to get it as smooth as possible. Battery for the G50 5G is really good. It doesn't have to push as many pixels since HD Plus nga lang siya. So again, 5,000 mAh capacity. It lasted 17 hours in our video loop test from 100 to 25%. For my normal usage, I got nearly 2 days easily. Problem is though that it only supports 15-watt charging, so when you do have to plug in this phone, it will take a while. For the OS, like I said, since it's a Motorola device, you are getting that stock Android experience here, so if you want something ultra clean, their devices are always a good pick in my opinion. Okay, so before I forget, this is a 5G phone, so I'm sure that some of you or a lot of you are going to be curious about its 5G connectivity, and I have to be straightforward with you guys. Medyo mahina yung pickup niya. In my home office on my iPhone, I get a consistent 5G signal, 300 Mbps for download, like 50 for upload. But for the G50, it bounced around 4G, 4G Plus, and 5G in the same spot, and the speeds are really nothing to write home about. So it might be different for you. 5G might be stronger in your area, but I did have to mention this, so just take note, guys. Okay, so it's time to wrap up this video in as neat a bow as I can get it. I say this all the time when it comes to budget-friendly phones, the mid-range phones, but the competition in this price segment is really tough. And to be honest with you guys, I don't think that the Moto G50 5G has enough in its feature set to become serious competition. I mean, the battery life is really great. If 5G is okay in your area, then the price of this phone isn't going to be bad if you want to tap into those speeds, and you do have a clean stock Android experience. But other phones check the same boxes in my opinion, and you also get other smartphones that are going to be more affordable, and then others that are going to have more specs to give you better value for your money. So there you go, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to learn more about the Motorola Moto G50 5G, I'll leave a link to John's review on the website down below. But if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, sub to the channel, make sure you hit that notification bell, and if you have any questions, leave them down below and I'll try my best to get to them as soon as I can. For all the latest in tech, head to Unbox.ph, and of course follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, listen to our podcast on Spotify. My name is Tito James. Peace, God bless. See you guys next time, and of course, stay safe.